All right, what's up, everyone? Ballietbran. I don't normally stream on Saturdays, right? But the Hexakin that we'll be having on in a couple of minutes, they're from Croatia. They reached out to me about they're doing like a special Richardheart brew in a beer, right? They do a craft brewery and stuff like this, and so I'm excited to interview them. It'll be in just a couple of minutes, like I said. We'll still have to do the intro, but the Hex price, it's awesome to wake up to it, just making new all-time highs every single day. And then, so like I said, I don't normally stream on Saturdays, so obviously I'm streaming now. And then tomorrow, instead of my 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, normal time, I'm going to be interviewing Ivan with Crypto Bobcat. He's in Russia, and so we're going to do it actually at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time tomorrow. And I still might do the stream at 2 p.m., but we'll see. So without further ado, let me do the intro, and then we'll bring on Sina Barba Brewery, and then we'll go from there, all right? So give me just a second, and I'll see you in just a second here.
Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to like, be sure to share, be sure to comment. Yeah. Say hey. Say hey. Motherfucking jackpot. We still jackpot, bitch!
Thank you, Richard, for creating and founding the most amazing and disruptive financial technology cryptocurrency ever. Thank you, sir. And nice streams, Mr. Ballietbran.
Awesome. So without further ado, let's bring him on. Hey, how are we doing?
Hi.
Thank you for coming on. It's really cool. I'm happy you and I were able to talk and kind of coordinate this. And I think what you're doing is pretty cool. I like. Let's start off with your background. You know, what do you have in the background? I know you're a brewery.
Yeah. First of all, thank you for finding time. I know we had some back and forth trying to kind of combine our two time zones. Behind me is the first craft brewery from Split, Croatia. It's called Lab Split. Yeah, pun intended. And our most popular beer up until today was Barba. So, yeah. Hexakin here, Hexakin over there in Seattle. So,
yeah, we got a around the world stream. You know, you're in Croatia. That's awesome. I know, like I said before doing the live stream, that the person that I'm having on tomorrow, they're from Russia, and it's super cool to see that the product of Hex is global. You know, it's worldwide.
Yeah. True. And since we are so separated, sometimes I guess our viewers are going to see us looking at each other because we have a delay, what you're saying. So we have like a 3-4 second delay in between us. Yeah, it's great how Hex is putting together people. And by the way, I love your streams. I've tried looking, watching a lot of people, but your games is energetic and honest. So I kind of stuck. So I'm very happy that we did this kind of thing together, or what we are about to do. Yeah.
Me too, man. And I know we talked for a few minutes before the stream actually started, and like you mentioned, energetic and honest. Can you to get into it, can you maybe like tell the people that are watching now how you came across Hex or Richardheart? I know you said you're quite the people person, right? You can kind of see if someone's BSing or not.
Yeah, so the brewery is actually I like to joke it's a project that went out of control. So it has started as a hobby project, and it turned out to be kind of a bit more than that. My main job is not to go into too many details. Is actually interviewing people and figuring out, part of my job is interviewing people and figuring out if they are good to be employed. So during my 12 13 years, I've gathered some experience kind of picking up signs with people. So yeah, I'm not doing that intentionally. It's just something that kind of gets with you. And yeah, I was looking to get into crypto for a long time. I was pitched Bitcoin first time in 2013 when I was living in Oslo. So at that time I was like, yeah, I don't know if this has a future. Yeah, stupid me. So I passed on an opportunity to buy Bitcoin sub $100. And then yeah, this summer I was like, okay. Actually, beginning of the summer, I was like, okay, I'm getting into this, and I bought 5-6 different coins, and on recommendation of my good friend, which is actually now getting better in hospital. He had a car accident, but he got me into Hex, and he was like, yeah, just buy and stake and don't worry about it. And I was investigating about everything and figured out at some point, oh, Hex just doubled. And I was like, okay, let's look into this. Why did this double? And then I found Richard, and I was like, whoa. I think a lot of people can relate. Seeing Richard for the first time is like, what the hell is going on? Like, why does he have candles and Rolexes swirling around, and like, what the hell is going on? And then I spent a lot of time looking at his videos, and then figured out how to get into Telegram groups. And yeah, I think I've spent like a month 100% invested into looking into Hex. And after that month, I went 100% invested into the Hex. So
That's awesome, man. That's such a cool story. I know what you mean when you say that all of us have kind of had our own first experience with everything, but especially with Richardheart, like you mentioned. When I was following him in 2017 and found out about him, he didn't have the Rolexes spinning, but he had everything else, right? The crystals in the back. And anyways, it's definitely a unique thing that you don't see a lot. So when I saw it, it's like, okay, sure, we can see what he's wearing and all this stuff on the outside, but what is the information on the inside? And like you mentioned, you've been doing interviewing, making sure that people are a good fit for the past like 12, 13 years. And I think it's really cool that someone like Richard was spending so much time on the live streams, because it was really easy to see that he was genuine.
Yeah. Not only that, but looking at him, I hope he doesn't mind us talking about him like this, but doing analysis on his personality or whatever hell are we doing here. But he does come across to me as a genuine person, and looking at him, especially when he's tired, he slips a lot of his true personality. I don't think he's sleeping with his Rolexes and polishing his cars. I think there's much more to this guy. But if I was him, and if I was trying to do something like he's doing, yeah, maybe I would do similar. Especially if I don't want old big hedge funds, old money coming in and shaking my product. Seeing him with chandeliers and Rolexes, I think a lot of big money is still kind of reserved to come in. By the time they figure out, I think Bran is going to be a whale, and like, no, you're coming on my terms.
No, that's one of the beautiful things that you mentioned. I mean, I didn't hear about it in the little the back room that we were talking about, but you'd mentioned hearing about the opportunity, right, of buying Bitcoin at $100, and most people with anything in life, whether it's crypto or something else, most people, they hear about like a good opportunity once, and then you don't want to miss it the second time, right? Because you saw how successful it was. So I said that to say that yeah, we definitely are in. All of us that are in right now, we're almost in too early. We're in so early that I see a lot of people saying, man, I'm so jealous that you guys got in early. I'm in late. And the point that I'm getting at is we're in before like the big money gets in, before the billionaires, before we really hit that virality. I mean, we're still
Before
gatekept on.
gatekeeping, yeah, gatekeeping seems to be. I mean, as soon as Hex goes through these coin market and whatever, we are getting to 70 million people instantly overnight. So it's potentially a big breakthrough and getting viral. I mean, just today I've seen a tweet from Richard. Business Times Singapore has made a really positive article about Hex. So I think that's one of the first mentions in a mainstream media of Hex. So we are breaking through here and there, and it's only a matter of time when this becomes a bit more, a bit daily thing. So yeah, it's very early.
I mean, you're totally right. We definitely are early. I don't know if this is the same one that you're talking about. That's from Singapore, but I saw this article recently, and when I just scroll down, this information was from CoinMarketCap, like the actual chart data of CoinMarketCap. But you can see it's like a more of a mainstream Asian Pacific article, and you're definitely right. We're seeing more of this, and I'll just get back to us. But it's really cool to see that we've seen television ads, we've seen wrapped vehicles, right? Not only in the UK in buses, but now we're seeing the one German and one Austrian that are in America now traveling all the states. The
brilliant. People. Yeah, brilliant. But I think being this early into Hex and seeing that it's very reliant on community and gameplay behind coin is so well thought through. And I mean, I'm looking at Telegram groups, and even almost 2 years after release, people are still debating and discovering new ways how to earn more. So it's really something there. And looking at community, that's how I got the idea, what we are about to talk to, looking at these guys driving across America and doing meet and greet, Hexicon meet and greet. Yeah, it's more things like this need to happen, and then we take over the world.
It's true, man. No, I mean it's definitely true. I know. The thing I love about Richard is he knows what he's capable of, and he's also very ambitious. I mean, like you mentioned, kind of like taking over the world. I think the first step is showing the cryptocurrency space that Hex has not only had 100% uptime, but it's here to stay. So I think when we see Bitcoin have what's called like the flippening, right? Whether that's Ethereum or whether that's Hex that surpasses its market cap, that's kind of like the first paradigm breaking move. But we are just getting started, like you mentioned. And when I see all of these things in the community, it's really a grassroots movement that's just getting more viral by the day.
Yeah, and looking at these guys, I mean, driving across America and watching a game, I think it was West Ham and Manchester United putting a banner and so on. I had a kind of idea. I mean, we are running this project, why we are actually talking about here. We are running a charity project every year. I actually started as a No Shave November thing. No Shave November kind of went out of popularity, but I still wanted to make sure that we do something for the local community, even though No Shave November was kind of not cool anymore. So 5 years ago, we started in November. We put a very famous local news presenter. The idea behind this charity was we find somebody that was very positive and giving something back to the community, and put him on a label. And then people, if they identify with this person, they're going to buy a beer. We are making zero profit on a beer, and all of the profits on top of production cost, everything goes to oncology department of our local hospital. And the idea was so well received that we got exposure in all of the local, or not local, but Croatian media. So I don't think there was a portal or news agency that didn't cover this story, especially since we landed a kind of a biggest news anchor person. Next year, we took a local band that was there through our kind of us growing up, and they were very vocal against drugs and drug abuse and so on. So we put them. So every year we wanted to put somebody. We did a silent action last year because of COVID, and we didn't want to kind of get people into more exposure to danger than it was necessary. And then this year I was like, okay, since I'm in Hex and I do understand what's going on, it's a great opportunity for young people in Croatia, maybe looking to get a loan for an apartment or looking how to start a life, maybe look into Hex. Like, don't deposit, don't do a bank deposit and hope for the loan. Deposit in Hex. And I was like, okay, maybe we can get Richard to be on our label. I know it's an ambitious project. I know that he mentioned that he has 18,000 unread messages. And I can only imagine how his Twitter and Telegram looks. I think his phone is melting all the time. So yeah, I'm trying to just get a straight answer from him. Yes, I like the idea. No, I don't like the idea. I don't like being associated with beer, or I don't like whatever. So if he says no, I say thanks. I'm taking a vacation for a bit just to kind of spend some time with family. If he says yes, then we have plenty of things to do to make sure that this beer gets to Hexicans. And at the end, Hex or Pulse gets paid to the hospital. And I think the good catch is there hasn't been any, as far as I'm aware, there hasn't been any donations in crypto to any hospital. So if we manage to do this, there's going to be a Hex or Pulse donation to hospital. So it's again going to be a major thing in local media. So doing my part, don't expect profit from work of others.
No, it's true, right? And Richard says that a lot, referring to himself, but he's always mentioned that, I mean, you can always expect things to be successful when you're spending your time and doing it yourself, right? When you mentioned that you guys kind of get back to the charities and things like that, I think that's really awesome. And it's not like Richard would even have to do anything, right? He would, like you mentioned, kind of just give the thumbs up on the green light, and you guys would kind of be doing the rest. But I think it's so cool that Hex isn't just about like money and cryptocurrency and stuff like that, or being the best. It really is more, it really is more. And like your friend that you said, I'm happy to hear that he's doing better from his car accident. But when you mentioned that he had kind of insisted, many times that you get in, I think it's really cool, because a lot of Hexicans are, like I said, not really greedy people, but we want to help, right? And so you can only help so much if you have abundance. And so Hex is definitely allowing a lot of people to show that. Yeah,
I mean, how I'm reading, Hex, if somebody can kind of put, it's a deposit and it's values time, but explaining to somebody that never understood anything about crypto or anything how Hex works, I would say, imagine if there was a bank and this bank had zero cost, like no employees, no spaces to lease, no buildings, nothing, just everything that you invested in program, and program gave you back something. And it's actually how we make a surplus, and how we kind of get these T shares, and eventually you get more and more for what you invest, because you're not paying somebody to greet you at the door. You're not paying for the moving door. It's just a code, a program. So that's how I actually, when somebody approaches me and says, what's the deal with this Hex? And I'm always like, it's like a savings account where you don't pay fees to the bank. The banks go to you, actually. So.
Yeah, it's so true. I mean, a lot of people don't really understand sometimes the concept of how money works and how the banks make money and the different products of the bank. But like you mentioned, as opposed to the bank making all of the money and them using specific dark patterns to get that person's money locked back in. All the benefits are going to the stakers. And the thing that I love about it is in Bitcoin or pretty much any other cryptocurrency that's like proof of work, you have overhead. I mean, you know it for yourself, right? In business, there's a cost of doing business. But when you stake your Hex for the T shares and to earn the interest, you have no overhead at all. So not only is it good on the environment, that's a great angle for longevity of the product, but you have it just working 100% and flawlessly. And so right now you kind of have that beginning phase of the higher yield that everyone's looking for. So it's just a win-win situation. And I think we're about to, go from pre-viral to, viral.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I do have a bit of, economic background and education. So when Richard is talking about, you putting your money into the bank and then this money doesn't get leased or let out, it's actually true. It's I'm not sure if it's an English saying, but it's I don't think I can translate it to how we call it in Croatia.
Sure.
But basically, you put money and you say to the government, "Okay, I've put 1,000 of something. I need to, get this out as a loan." They say, "Sure, you can lease 900 and 100 stays as a security or something like that." Then, when you get these 900 leased out, you take something as security. So, like a house. Okay, this house is covering for this 900. Then you again go and say, okay, I have 900. I want to lease out 800. And it goes down. And once you put your, I don't know, $1,000 or whatever, the bank can lease out tenfold. And then the bubble comes, if the house they kind of put as a mortgage security, if it's really not worth that many thousands, and if market crashes, everything collapses especially quickly. With Hex is actually somebody puts 1,000 is there. Somebody comes and puts 5,000 is there. There is no, I mean, if money loses value overnight like this, I think we are in problem. Or if comet hits Earth.
I mean, you're definitely right. No, I mean, you're definitely right. The banks, they've got similar systems, but like you mentioned, they do the fractional reserve banking. So you're totally right about that.
I'm sorry if I didn't explain this very well, because English is obviously not my main language, and trying to talk about something I don't speak every day can be challenging to me. So apologies if I kind of didn't make my point across.
Oh no, not at all, man. I think it's so impressive, right? Like I said, my girlfriend's Venezuelan. Spanish is her first language. English is the second, and I think it's so not ambitious, but I think it's so cool to see people, not just learning one language. Like most people, at least Americans, just know one language, So for other people around the world to want to learn a second language aside from their first, I think that's really cool. But no, you're right about. So Hex doesn't have any fractional reserve banking, and you're also right that it's similar to the bank where they're not necessarily loaning it out, right? When your Hex is locked, it's not going anywhere. It's not going to anyone. It's just staying there, and it's actually burnt. But the point is it's not getting lent out to anyone else, and so it's got so many unique concepts, and it's so cool to see it working how it was designed. I know Richard had a couple different cryptocurrency projects that he had considered before Hex, and then those were a little bit too complicated. And so he's like, all right, let's just do Hex. And it's worked out very well since then. And then now we've got Pulse Chain coming out too, which, as you know, is going to make the fees a little bit more realistic.
Yeah. My friend, he sent me a message this morning. He was trying to buy, probably with some leftover money, he was trying to buy like $400 of Hex, and the fee was actually higher than like $450 fee for $400 of Hex. Yeah, it's
It's
insane.
yeah.
It's insane, and it's actually
Well,
I'm
yeah.
not following what happened after London Fork or whatever they were doing, but after this August event, actually everything went mental. Like before
Yeah.
that I was complaining for 19-20 dollar fee, but now
Mm.
getting 35, I'm happy as a little child.
Well, in the London fork, like you mentioned, the EIP 1559, it was actually never supposed to even lower the fees. From all the research that I did, it was supposed to like make Ethereum more deflationary, like more rare, which has made the
Okay.
cost of everything go up. And at the end of the
Okay.
day, um, like someone like yourself can really understand it well from like reading people. But there's what people say, and then there's what people do, and a lot of times they can be two different things. And so I think it was like 2014 or sometime many years ago, Vitalik Buterin, the founder of Ethereum, he had said that Bitcoin's fees were too high. And at that time, Ethereum, their fees to transact were about 5 cents. And they even said that that's too high. But then now you see so that was what he said. And then now you see what they've done. And the fees are
Yeah.
just, drastically higher. And so I think someone like Richard, he's kind of like a no bullshit person. He's waiting for he wasn't waiting to fork Ethereum. He was, okay with Hex. We're all okay with Hex. But then when they started doing things to make the end stakes higher for hexagons, it just became like almost not fair for the hexagon. So Richard's like, all right, well, I'm gonna develop my
Yeah.
own solution. So shout out to him.
Yeah, just before we start, I think my friend is actually watching this stream. Just before we started, I got a message that I didn't have time to reply, and my friend was like, "I would like to stake some Hex," and I know that he doesn't have too much, and I was like, wait,
Mm-hmm.
the fees are going to eat into everything, and his reply was like, there's fees on staking question mark, and the answer is yes. And when you unstake, there's fee as well, and then this fee can actually kill all of your profits if you didn't stake long enough and high enough amount.
It's so true. I mean, I tell people that, hey, if you're going to use Hex and stake Hex, um, then you kind of want to do it for a reasonable amount of time. For me, I'm not going to do anything under a year. But when it comes down to it, you don't have to actually stake it, right? A lot of people with Bitcoin, they wonder like, oh, do you actually have to stake Hex? But my brother, he's actually one of my older brothers is in the chat here, and he noticed the background, and I was telling him I was going to interview you guys. But can you tell us which two beers are in the back? Oh, okay, nice. Let's get
So
a close
there's
up of this.
so this is our beer that we are trying to get Richard to accept. It's this charity beer. If he says yes, the Wizard of Pulse and Hex goes uh, worldwide. And if not, I'll enjoy drinking my Barba beer. This is and look at the logo of our brewery. Like, look at this perfect hexagon. If we tilt the bottle like this, it very much resembles of something that we are very familiar with.
That's awesome. I think that's really cool. And yeah, like you mentioned, kind of waiting for Richard's green light
Yeah.
to kind of go on with it. Maybe I can ask him in some of the chats
I
as
will.
well
I would
and
love. I would
expedite.
love if anyone watching this could help. And we touched on this before. I can understand people. I've had this conversation before. People not being very keen to be on a bottle of beer because there's always kind of connection with alcoholism and problems it develops, and it's a very serious and miserable state that somebody can get himself into. But I can always argue, and if Richard is watching this or gets this info, uh, we are to beer and alcoholics same what Hex is to crypto community and gambling. So if you can say that we are creating alcoholics, I would argue completely opposite. What we are doing with beer is we are creating actually something brilliant, something special. We are taking care of each bottle, taking care to use best ingredients possible, and create a limited edition artisan beer that you really can enjoy. And it's more like it's more of a thing that we are concerned about pairing this bottle of beer with different styles of food than to kind of selling 10 gallons of beer and glugging down. Same thing goes with, in my opinion at least, to crypto environment. So you can not be a gambler, get into Bitcoin, Ethereum, or whatever, and start longing, shorting, and actually gambling. And I sat down with one of my friends, and actually he started losing serious money on playing with gas fees and whatever he was doing. I don't know. So and then Hex comes along, and it's completely opposite, and it's a safe haven. You put your money in, you stake it, you lock it, and you don't touch it, and there's no gambling there. Of course there's risk with anything in life, but I would put a parallel. So same thing we are to beer industry, Hex is to crypto. So I think there's a lot of parallels in what we are doing here and what we are trying to achieve, and what Richard and community is doing on this side.
I mean, I definitely agree. And, shout out to Charlie, Cultivate Crypto. Him and one of the other Hexikins, Dollar Cost Crypto, they do a quarterly course for people that are just getting into crypto, right? That want to learn more, but don't want to have all of the mistakes that happen. But anyways, he mentions, kind of to your point of, people do need to be responsible for themselves, and it's okay to enjoy life how you like. And you're definitely right. It's not like you're promoting anything bad, right? You're taking something that's a thing that you're already doing, brewing, and something that you're passionate about. And the thing that I'm really happy about that what you're doing is cool to see is the donation to the hospital, right? That's so cool. Richard, all of the Hexikins and people that donated for Pulse raised 28 something like that million to Send's charity.
Million,
and for someone like yourself to give back as well, I think that's really selfless, and it goes to show you the character of the Hexikins and people like yourself.
Yeah, I believe. I mean, as I mentioned when we were privately chatting, and during the stream, Brewery is kind of a hobby project gone mental, but I always wanted it to be how would you say, something a part of community. Always give back to community, and I see that across United States. I mean, craft scene has been there for 25 years now, and people are really living with their community, and community is connected to these breweries and supporting small production and small scale production, and hiring people, employing people. So I think, and this is what's kind of giving me a joy, doing long hours and fighting the system that we have here, and politics and whatever is so in Croatia. We are early, same as a Hex, so we still have a long way to go. So doing something for community, for sponsoring sport events with small beer donation or whatever we can afford to give, but we want to be there, we want to be seen, and we want to show that it's not only creating a product and selling it. If you want to get rich, and if the money is the only thing that you care about, then you just sell on a highest margin and leave dead bodies behind you. But if you want to be a happy and satisfied person, then you need to have friends, family, of course, and then feel good about what you're doing, and doing charity, helping young artists, whatever project we get involved into, I feel happy about it. And I would be especially honored if we could pull out this beer thing and charity with Hex, and put Hex in mainstream media in Croatia at least. So at least if we get five people staking their Hex, I think it was a success. And maybe five viewers to Ballietbran.
No, I mean, I agree. I actually hope that we can expedite that process too, Richard, because I know that's kind of what you guys are waiting on. And as a Hexikin,
and then,
David Morales.
just to mention in between, I got
Mhm.
also a cool message from a Hexagon brewery owner in United States, and he was also
Mm.
amazed by idea. And I didn't still haven't time to reply to him, but he was also kind of maybe we can help, maybe we can do our part here, so you don't have to fight to import a beer. Again, all whatever he was referring to. So I might get into contact with him, and we might do something together. But first of all, Richard needs to say, yes, this is a good idea. I would like to be on this limited edition, whatever amount of bottles we get into. So
Right. No, I mean, I tell you what, like you mentioned, a limited edition. I know David, he's saying, I would love to get a 6-pack, and same thing, right? When it comes to Hex, it's so cool that the community kind of also supports the community, and like you mentioned, not just to buy and sell a product, but a lot of the stuff that they're making is very unique. So it's cool that you took the time out of your day to. You said you got in Hex in June, right? So like 3 months ago, and
yeah,
now we're thinking about how to give back. So that's really cool.
yeah. That's I mean, that's how whenever I know that's a legislative nature to the saying, don't expect profit from work of others. But how I read it is, you don't just sit on a Staker app and just refresh it and oh, it's went up, oh, it's went up. Do something about it. Spread the word. Do something that people can actually invest some time and explain why are you so passionate about. It's easy to be passionate about anything, but one thing you mentioned, community and how giving back to community. uh, what I think people don't understand and don't realize yet is, I had a community like this when I was younger, when I was in my, I did Olympic sailing, and wherever you would go in the world, you would have a sailor, somebody to have a beer with, to get the local knowledge, where to eat, what to do. And what's happening now, actually, you have Hexicans all over the world, and they're very happy and excited to talk to another Hexican. And I've seen messages in Telegram group like, oh, I'm visiting Singapore, and then somebody immediately there's someone, oh, hi, I'm taking you out. That's amazing, to have a community and to go wherever in the world and say, oh, I would like to, grab something to eat with somebody. And I'm in Venice, I'm in Portugal, I'm on wherever. Just send them a few messages, and there will be a guy passionate about your sport or your coin, Hex, somewhere. So that's what's really surprised me when I realized, like, oh, these guys are really sociable, and then
Yeah. It's true. I mean, like I was saying too, there's what people say and there's what people do, and so who knows that like it was just cool to meet like the Hexicans in Vegas, right? Because there's always like your perception, and then there's like the reality, and the reality confirmed for me at least, and a lot of other people, the perception that, oh, okay, these people are who they say they are. They're the same person on camera as they are off camera, and like you mentioned, at the end of the day, a lot of us, yeah, we share very similar, because it's not just about Hex and whatnot, but share very similar, like, not beliefs, but share very similar ideas. And so it's easy to talk to someone who's a Hexican, like a friend. And like you mentioned too, I've got a friend that's in California that was in Seattle recently, and we weren't able to meet up this time, but we're going to meet up in like a week and a half. And it's cool to be able to do that. And not feel awkward or anything, but they're, almost like a friend, like, getting started off on the right foot.
correct.
So, and then you said, you're in Croatia. I know you said you kind of got onboarded, right, from one of your friends. Is he a pretty big Hexican, or do you know how he got into Hex?
Well, I mentioned that there's this Telegram group that wants to be recognized as a Hex Croatia. One of the guys, Josie, shout out to Josie. I believe he was the one that onboarded him. He was, again, fair. I'm not sure when but within last year he was onboarded. And funny thing is, whoever I met around this Hexican community, everybody is a bit alternative. So, you will see some dreadlocks and tattoos and long beards and almost like craft brewers. So I was like, okay,
Yeah.
this is a very funny thing. Like all of these people that are currently working with the Hex and shilling Hex and promoting it, and being Hexicans, are a bit, underground in music, in their lifestyle, and
Mm,
it's funny how it's kind of it's starting, you know underground. It's still not viral. It's not mainstream. It's
yep. Yep.
still a group of people that have been listening to certain music to. So it's yeah, it's amazing. So, and I've kind of feel comfortable around that kind of people. So yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool, like you mentioned, and like we talked about. It's not only grassroots, but it's organic. And with
Yeah.
all of the gatekeeping that we've had with, say, CoinMarketCap or even just other influencers in the beginning, I mean, day one, December 2nd, 2019, when Hex came out, there was a lot of people like Tone Bays and a handful of other people trying to entrap Richard, and it was just really cool to see that Richard was persistent.
Yeah.
He's kind of like what he talks about, like that shining hill or that shining city on a hill, where like, and he almost kind of like exposed the rest of like the influencers and the crypto community in general by him being on there, because he was kind of like the light of truth, and like those other people clearly had like negative intentions, and you can just tell they might not be like the best person that you'd want to be a friend with, you know.
Yeah, you can see when somebody is pushing a product just because he got some coins as an ICO, or got paid to do a promotion. But that, you can see it when these people are talking about. There's no passion, there's no honesty. At least for me, looking at them, and I started, watching a lot of YouTube videos on this crypto environment, and I've seen a lot of these very excited hype fake videos, and I was looking at these coins, and it's like, oh, this save the child coin, it's what the hell happened here, and then what happened to the moon coin, and what happened to $1 million or whatever the name was coin. I was like, this, although it's very good that crypto is not under regulation, governmental regulation, but this allowed to a lot of scams and a lot of things happening. And then finding somebody that's actually honest about what he's doing, it's a breath of fresh air.
Totally. Yeah, it definitely is a breath of fresh air too. I mean, yeah, as someone that was always kind of like, before finding Richard in 2017, always looking for like entrepreneurs or people that were, self-made and things like that. And Richard happened to be like the perfect teacher that me, the student, was looking for.
Yeah.
So and you look at his earlier content. I mean, when you look at the intentions of him, he's always been very pure and very clear. I mean, writing the book Sci-Vibe, and as we said, donating to Sens, things like this. That's just like a blip of what we're going to do and what he's going to do as the years go on.
Oh, I lost you for a second. Sorry, I think my internet was. But I've heard what you were saying and understood. Yeah, and I think after so many millions that you earn, it becomes just a number, and then it's about what you are in your heart, pun intended. So yeah, I think, if you're an honest, decent person, and if you earn millions, you either, if you're a scumbag, you become a bit more scumbaggy. If you are true in your heart, then you kind of develop and start working on your projects of interest and ambition that you really want to kind of do something better for the world. And I think it's a noble cause. And if you go to this sci-fi, I think there's also a connection why he's calling his books that way. Watching Star Trek or something like that, there is a fantastic vision of how world should be. Money is not an issue. People are living, the artists, the engineers, and whatever. So I think that's what happens when you become so rich, maybe as Richard. you start envisioning what the world could actually be. So I respect that. And if I ever earn millions, I can promise you here and now, I'll try to do more better for the world.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're right. More of money just kind of accentuates and shows the character and kind of like what your intentions are. So you're definitely right. And I think Richard's kind of like the first person that I heard that from. But if you're a bad person, you have a lot of money, great. You're going to be able to spread your evil and do whatever you want and be destructive. Yeah. But if you're a good person, you have a lot of money, like Richard's popularizing ideas that I've never heard about when it comes to longevity, right? You always hear like, oh, we need to find a cure for cancer and stuff like this. And even if you cure cancer and heart disease at the same time, the max a human can live is like 7 more years, as opposed to the longevity that he talks about and kind of treating like aging as a disease. Like that stuff is so interesting. And I don't know much about it, but I know that there's something there to it. And it seems a lot more legitimate than what you see in the current news and the current, popularity.
Yeah, and I think especially what I've seen traveling through the United States is I mean, longevity. Yeah, there's going to be research. There's going to be a biotech, some nanoprobes or whatever they are working on that's going to kind of remove damage from your cells. And I've listened to Richard talk about this. And yeah, I mean, there will be progress in that area. And I think when the first results come from that area, there's going to be a huge boom in popularity. And Richard was very early to this tech to invest into this. So I truly believe that there's going to be a big progress, and there's going to be longevity pulls towards people lifespan. But what I've seen across America and the United States, there is also part of food. I know that you're kind of waking up. It's not only McDonald's. It's not only kind of whatever meat you find in a store fridge. It has to be a good quality, healthy food, and then you're actually starting to work on yourself. And I know, because I've been horrible. I've been working 15 hours days and eating whatever I could. And it's kind of ended up at a point where I was like, okay, these things change, because I'm not going to live much longer like this. And yeah, I found a way through changing my diet and taking a rest now and there. So as I said, if Richard says no, I'm going to take a vacation. I'm not going to be sorry. Oh, I tried and I failed. No, I don't. I wouldn't say I don't care. I would love to do this, but I won't be terribly disappointed if he says no. You have to take a vacation. Not going on that label.
Totally, man. Yeah, and like you mentioned too, kind of being able to get in communication with another person that saw what you were doing. That's state based. I think it's awesome, right? Everyone's kind of got their own thing, like their own niche or their own skill set that they can kind of provide as value. It might not just be money, or it might not just be streaming and things like this, but everyone kind of bundles together and does their own thing. Like when we were talking about Patrick and Abit, Alan, traveling around the States, one of the Hexicans kind of like sponsored that, or I think a couple of them kind of co-sponsored that. But it's really cool to see that when you have a plan and it is bettering everyone else and it's bettering, everything, that other people will kind of come in that can facilitate that, and they'll step in and help, which is exactly what we're seeing.
Yeah, and thank you for stepping in. And then, on my first message, you were like, "Yeah, sure, let's do it." Thanks for that.
Totally, man. Yeah, it's cool, man. Ever since retiring from my job and kind of quitting, I've always been a fan of doing the little streams here and there. But now I've got like so many more people on the list for future streams, and it's pretty cool, man. It's awesome. I mean, at the end of the day, just trying to provide value and help everyone, any way that we can. So it's awesome to see that it's working.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. My long-term goal would be maybe, not quitting a job, I'm
exactly.
I'm not sure if I'm addicted to work, so I'm still the court is out on that ruling. But I would definitely love to do more that I'm passionate about. Not only just I have to do this. And when people say, "Oh, I retired," you're not walking around with a stick and reading newspapers. No, you're doing something that you like, and you're doing streams. And I would probably in a couple of years like to do something similar, or not maybe streams, but whatever
Right.
kind of. Yeah, I see that marketing and marketing comes naturally to me, and these ideas, and this charity is not the first thing that kind of I've ventured in. So yeah, maybe discover, explore a bit that side of take a passion and make it a job, and then destroy it. That's we say like brewery, what's the best way to start hating a beer? Open a brewery.
That's funny, man. Well, I mean, no, you definitely made a good distinction on the quitting the job part. I mean, I agree. Yeah, still definitely working and busier than before. But you're right. Being able to spend that time and do what you want on your own terms and not someone else's. And and the more that you kind of do have that opportunity and are able to work on stuff that you're passionate about, then just kind of like the better it is. But quick question, because we're not going to go for like too much longer. We'll kind of go for a few more minutes and then call it probably towards an hour. But when you say you've been brewing for about like 12, 13 years, can you tell me like what's behind you, like, because you got a lot of like nice equipment there, and I'm actually curious.
Actually, I've been brewing. This may come as a shock to your viewers in the United States, but craft beer was discovered here, I would say 5-6 years ago only. So this brewery is a bit more than 5 years ago. Me are the fermenters. So maybe I'm not sure if you can hear them, but they are clicking constantly because I've shut the cooling system, so they're asking for a coolant. So beer is fermenting inside them. Beer is creating heat, and if you leave beer on too much heat, it can spoil or it can change the taste. So you're actually dosing down with cooling. There's a cooling jacket around the tanks, and there's a like 0 degree temperature, or I don't know in Fahrenheit was that, but close to freezing. There's a liquid that's circulating around the tanks and creating a accurate temperature. So every degree up and down creates a different taste profile of a beer. So we are playing with temperatures, molesting yeast basically. So if you give them if they spoil the beer, so it has to be slightly chilly. Somebody's asking about Hex Beer. That's what we're trying to do here. Richard, if he agrees, we go. Yeah, a bit of a Hex, a bit of a Pulse, and yeah, Richard in a robe. And there's candles.
I was gonna say I love it. You guys did a really good job. Who did your design? Was that just one of?
So I have a friend. He's my slave. Him this, and he's going to be. No, actually, I've just met him through chance. When we started, I was looking for a graphic designer to do our label, and Marco Sraka is his name. His name popped out, and we started discussing, and he was, easiest person to kind of get my idea across. I would just say, I need Richard, I need background, extremely rich coins and dollars and boxes, and he's a wizard holding two, Pulse and Hex in his hands, and he was like, yeah, I got it. And I first draw, he was like, yeah, you did it again. So yeah, no, and you mentioned it's not a large brewery. It is largest in town, but still we are very, very limited with the production and what we can do. And yeah, but decent size.
How many beers do you make?
Up until now, we made 16, 17 different beers. But we stopped experiment. We wanted to be like, having a new beer every week, every 2 weeks, and so on. 16, 17 bottles. We did more like a tap beer for taps. But the market here is still a bit conservative, so we have to go slowly. We tried with crazy beers, with sours, with it didn't work really well. Or we actually have a passionate following of people that are crazy about these experiments, but not enough people to make living out of. So we are a bit more conservative with our beer styles, but kind of boost to our morale happens every time we are a very touristy place. So a lot of viewers, probably somebody is going to be there that traveled to Split and maybe tried our beer. So a lot of tourists come in and they walk into the brewery and they're like, great, fuck yeah, you're doing a great job. We love your beer. We love what you're doing, and keep up. So yeah, that gives us a morale boost to try. And yeah.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, it's always cool. I've always been interested in the process, right? Of, a lot of people see the final product, but what was that process from beginning to end to kind of get there?
You if you have some spare time, it's winter, you're inside, and you're looking to something to do. Brewing beer opens up, gives you a lot of knowledge about food production in one sense, about yeast, about fermentation, and then pretty much everybody that went into making home brewing, making beer at home. It's fairly simple. You will get amazing results, but I'm not joking. Like whoever brews a beer for his home collection is going to make a better job than what we are doing here, because we have to create compromises so this beer can survive traveling to the shelf and being sold and transported and whatever. But when you're making a beer for yourself, and fairly simple to get into, I like this taste, I like these hops, I like this malt profile. It's brilliant hobby, and it's going to open some more knowledge, fermenting, and then some bacteria, what's happening with food, and then you get into making your own cheese, and then after some time you're making your own gin. I made a tonic. I was making a tonic in my place, and my wife, she was like, what now? What are you doing now? And I was like, I'm making tonic. And she was like, okay. So
cool.
But opens your eyes to how food is produced, and then you start venturing into creating more and more things for yourself, and then you are on a healthy side. You're making you're not taking something off the shelf full of some additives and chemicals inside to make it live longer. You're making stuff for yourself, keeping it cool, and 100% eating healthy.
Exactly. Well, cool, man. I think we'll end it right about here. We're about an hour in, and that's usually kind of like a good length for the little streams and interviews. I know I did have in the description. Is this your website, the lab-split.com? Is that your guys' website?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, cool, man. Yeah. Do you have any?
No, a lot of people, just to finish up on a same sense, a lot of people have been messaging me, like they've seen a tweet. I mean, we opened a Twitter page just to send this message to Richard, and we have, I'm not sure, like 30, 40 followers, but we got like 100 retweets and hundreds of likes, and people sending messages like, I've been to your web shop and I couldn't find this Richard beer. Where can I buy this Richard beer? Why is it not on? It's not on because Richard still hasn't said yes. So we are waiting for yes or no. If he says yes, you can expect beer in our shop probably slightly before Pulse Chain comes out.
Cool. Well, yeah, I have your Twitter up here as well, and I'll remove my my little logo so people can see your guys' channel. And yeah, at the end of the day, there's supply and demand, right? Just like with Hex and everything else, and there's definitely a demand for this beer, and so we just need to get it in front of the right people, the final decision maker, right? The gatekeeper.
The gatekeeper of Barba Wizard Beer or Hex Beer or whatever we will call it. So Richard, don't be a gatekeeper.
Damn straight, man. Well, cool, man. I will. I'll try and like clip this and at least clip the part that's asking Richard about that. So maybe he can be familiar that that's what's going on before the green light does go through. So dude. Once again, thank you again for coming on. I mean, it definitely won't be the last time, but I appreciate you spending your time with me and kind of going over everything. That's a really cool process.
And thank you for taking your day off to finally meet up with me. Appreciate it.
Totally, man. Well, awesome. We'll see you next time. And thanks again.
Yeah.
Awesome. So that was it, everyone. His channel is in the description. So is his website. And then Wales Only is actually streaming right now. Didn't intend to stream over him, but hey, you got to do what you got to do. And he's already got plenty of followers anyway. So go over to Wales Only. I'll see everyone there in the chat. And actually, tomorrow my stream will be at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time with Ivan in Russia, Crypto Bobcat. Okay, so see everyone a couple hours early before my normal stream. And till next time.